Welcome to Psych Ups with Brian. Guys, here we are. And remember, we did that live event and some of you turned in leads, which was awesome. So we're going to do some deal structuring today. Remember, this is how I want you to format your deal structuring. Okay. So can you read all this? It says at the top, cash flow deal structuring, and it breaks it down how I want you to structure your deals. So this particular house, I think it was Jen and Charles that turned this in. Awesome, guys. You turned in some really awesome leads. Jen and Charles, you're our winner for the best leads turned in. And reach out to me, please, by text. You know, I give you my text number. And if you can send me a good testimonial, I think I'm going to award you guys a system, winning system this summer. So remember, I'm doing some contests this summer. And Tony already won a system. He won the 1 hour open house selling. It's called the 1 hour selling machine. But it teaches you all about the 1 hour open house. It teaches you how to sell your lease purchase properties really fast and get the most down. So that's an amazing system. We just sent it to him. So he won that. Now, this is the type of deals. This is a little bit more expensive than I tend to like. My ideal property might be in the 200, maybe even 150, or maybe even 100 to 200 range. Guys, we have great properties in the $50,000 range. So it doesn't, you can get into a lot of these properties less expensively if they're a little cheaper, but most of the cities in the country have gotten a lot more expensive. And whereas this could have been a house I could have bought in Arizona for, maybe 150 or 200, either 20 years ago or right when that 2008, when the prices went down. Now these properties are all in that 300 range. So what do you do with these type of properties? All right, so on this one, I thought it was worth about 360. It's in really good shape. Now, if I think it's worth 360 to 370, remember, comps are it's hard to pin down an exact price. Now, you're going to have a Zestimate on it, and you better know the Zestimate. If you don't know the Zestimate, trust me, everybody else does. The seller does, the buyer does. So knowing the Zestimate is important. However, the Zestimate's not always accurate. Still, people go by it. So you kind of have to keep the Zestimate in mind at certain points. Now, we got this house for a little under the Zestimate. My goal is to buy a house for, if I can get it for 20 under the Zestimate, I'm like super happy. Okay, but if I buy it for the Zestimate, what am I going to do? I'm going to mark it up about 20 grand. All right. Remember, when we are giving somebody the luxury of financing, in our ads, we're saying bad credit okay. Remember that. So we're advertising bad credit okay, no banks needed. And so that way they understand we are going to juice the monthly a little bit, usually maybe $100 a month, a little bit more than what a normal rental would be. And also we're going to bump the price. 5 to 10% is usually a good rule of thumb. In this upper price range, something over 300, I'm probably going to add about 20. I'm probably going to add about 20 to what I think the house is worth. So, and remember, here's another tip. When you're pricing your houses, a good break-off point, remember, every 50,000, people tend to search in the MLS or on Zillow or something, and sometimes they'll do their searches 200 to 400. Or that's a big range, probably more like 300 to 400, or 400 to 500, or something in that ballpark like that. But remember, they're cutting it off at the 50. So I want you, when you're pricing your properties, to stay just under any $50,000 breaking point. So if you're close, if you think the house is worth 370, and it looks really good and it shows well and it's a hot area, I'm probably going to boost it to 399. Now that's a pretty aggressive stance. But remember, you're offering this house for bad credit. You're going to get, 20 or 50 people at the open house, and they're not going to really worry that much about the price. They're more worried about, can I get it? So again, I want you to price them aggressively, but keep them under the $50,000 breaking point if there is one close by. So if we're selling it for $399.9, don't forget to add the 900. That's $900. $399.9. What do we expect to get as an option deposit? Now, this is we call it our NROD, non-refundable option deposit. It's what people give us money down to move into the property. Remember, this is also their down payment. That's how they feel okay about giving us 40 grand as just an option deposit, because they're thinking about it as their down payment. We're telling them it's their down payment because it will be. Now, is it their down payment now? No. But will it be when they go get qualified at a bank? Yes. And we will take a picture of that check and we will keep a copy of it in the file. We will take get a copy of the wire transfer, whatever proof we can get that they gave us that money, because later on down the road, their lender, whoever they're working with, is going to come to us and say, hey, they say they gave you 15,000. Did they? And can you show us? And so, yes, they did. And here's the proof. So that's important. So they give us 40,000 down on a deal like this. 10% down roughly is what you're looking for. Now, remember, you never ask for 10%. You never say, I need 10% down, because then what happens? You never get more than 10%. And so what's the actual line in the script? What's the most you can put down on your beautiful new home? That's the line in the script. What's the most you can put down on your beautiful new home? So then they'll say, well, I just sold a house or whatever. Guys, people are moving into a $400,000 house with bad credit. A lot of times have money. Now, a lot of them don't. Some of them only have 5 or 10,000 down. That's not our Huckleberry. But that's why we need to talk to 20 or 30 or 40 buyers to find our winner. And that's why we do the 1 hour open house. We just blast out the Zillow listing. We do a big 1 hour open house on Saturday from 2 to 3, and we just get the houses done. We get them sold. So that's what I love about our system. So, and that's the system that Tony got. Tony got the 1 hour home selling system, all about selling your houses fast. Okay. So our selling price minus the option deposit, the buyer still owes us $360. Okay, now how much do we owe the seller? We bought the house for $355. We're taking over a mortgage at $355. Okay, they owe $355 on it, so we're just taking over the mortgage. Now, what if they owe $300? We'll take over the mortgage for $300, and we will do super seller financing on the rest. That means no interest, no payment seller financing. So the way we do that, if they owe $300 and we're buying it for $355, we technically own $55,000. So the way we say it is, hey, so the way this usually works is we'll pay you that when we cash out. You understand that? That's it. You just tell them you're going to pay it when you cash out. And if they say yes, then that's great. So, but in this case, we're taking over a mortgage. So now that means they owe us $360. We owe the seller $355. Here's the good thing about this. This $355 is going down. This $355 goes down every single month because we are paying down the mortgage and we get credit for the mortgage reduction, the principal balance reduction. However, we don't give rent credit to our tenant buyers generally. So this is going to stay the same. That means what happens to my back end payday? It gets bigger. So you always want your back end to be getting bigger in real estate investing. So that's your back end payday. So you see, this is how I want you to structure your deals. We're collecting a lot of our spread, our price spread up front. Most of our profit, we're collecting it up front in the non-refundable option deposit. That is spendable cash to you. You can spend that money, but again, keep track, make sure you have proof they gave it to you so you can show their lender down the road. Now, what if they move? What is our cash flow on this deal? Well, the payment that we're making is $2,500, and the rentals estimate, you can check this in some different ways. One really good way to see what properties are renting for in your area is go on Zillow and just type in your city, click go at the top where it says for rent and click on for rent and look at the map, and a whole bunch of purple dots will light up. And you can go and click on each little purple dot and see how much they're asking for rent, how big it is it a house, is it an apartment, what is it? And you can basically evaluate a whole rental market of any city in about 5 or 10 minutes with Zillow. That's really an awesome tool. So you're going to be able to see, can I get, and again, we're going to bump the rent. So if I think I can only get, if the rentals estimate says, $2,700, and we use rental meter sometimes, so we'll look at it and it'll give you a range. And so if the range says, 2,400 to 3,100, sometimes it's a pretty wide range. I'm definitely pushing the high end of the range. And remember, we talked about keeping pricing just under a breaking point. Same thing here, $29.95. And yes, our rents are all 95. All of our rents end in 95. Nobody's writing our check for $900. They're writing a check for $895. Okay, it just sounds less. It's kind of a game, but you know, it works. So then this is our spread. So 495. What is our normal? What are we shooting for on a spread? We're shooting for $500 a month per house. That's our goal. Now, if it's a little bit less, I can live with that. This is a good deal. I should have a good spread. You know, the house shows great. So this is the kind of house we want to get under contract for the rest of their mortgage term. So remember, when we're talking to the seller, we say, okay, how much? So what's your monthly payment? Okay, your monthly payment's $2,500. So the way this works is we'll cover that payment for you until the mortgage is paid off. You understand that, right? And they say, okay, you're going to cover my payment. Good, because the house is sitting there vacant and that $2,500 a month is killing me. So please take over my house. And, you know, this is going to work out great for everybody. Okay. You can even say, I can even pay you a little extra per month. Sometimes you have a big spread. You can give them an extra $100 a month or something to even keep them motivated more. So I love doing this deal structuring. And I want you to structure your deals like this so you know how you're doing. Doris, good morning. Beautiful, Doris. Haven't heard from you for a little while. Oh, yes, it's Father's Day. So I'm going to have a great Father's Day weekend. We're going to a baseball game. We're going to a Diamondbacks game on Sunday. So root for the Diamondbacks on Sunday. We have our best pitcher going. It's an early game. It's like a 1 o'clock game. So me and my son are going. We've got super seats. We're sitting right behind the dugout. Actually, I found the best seats in the whole stadium. And it's the seats right behind the dugout. You get to see all the players coming in and out right in front of you. And you can see them hanging out over the edge of the dugout, rooting for their teammates and everything. You feel like you're really part of the game. They're a little pricey, but it's worth it to splurge once in a while. I love the Diamondbacks. They won the World Series right when we bought a new house out here and moved into it. 11:30 Wolf time. Am I late? Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, Jennifer, you turned in these awesome leads, and that is so awesome. And those leads really helped us. Now, here's the challenge, guys. You want to get a hold of everybody, but you can't always get a hold of people. And so we're calling on your leads, and we will text you back if we're able to get a hold of anybody and work anything out. Jen, you had some great deals. So I liked those deals, and we actually talked about some of the leads that you turned in. So that's really exciting. We had a really good event. We talked a lot of great sellers, and so watch for that. Hey, on fire. Yes, Caleb. You know, I know Caleb likes it when we do deal structuring. Okay. So yes, thank you, everybody. And so just remember, this is the best way that we like to set up and structure the deals. This is the best way to quickly evaluate, you know, what kind of a deal you have. If it's a good deal, you know, we just write cash flow deal structuring on the top, our selling price minus our option price. So the buyer still owes us blank. We owe the seller, and this is whatever you negotiated with your seller financing, how much you owe them for the purchase price, minus whatever you are putting down. If you're putting money down, that doesn't show up here, but that does come out of your back end payday. Okay, and remember, your back end payday keeps getting bigger because every month you make a payment, that mortgage balance goes down. And I'd like to see a $500 a month positive cash flow if possible. But again, you know, we're flexible on every deal. This is an apple pie. We talk about these deals like they're apple pies. And because every single deal you do, you know, you could break it down to 4 terms like an apple pie. So is it a delicious apple pie? Well, you only need 4 medium-sized apples. Okay, you may not be able to read these so well because I wrote them in different colors, but purchase price, monthly payment, length of term, and down payment. Remember, this is our cash flow apple pie. If we're getting a really good deal on the purchase price, now a lot of times we pay full price. We even advertise full price for your house. So a lot of times people expect us to pay close to full price. We do say, you know, do you have any wiggle room on that price? So we don't go aggressive. Now, if I'm going aggressive, what do I say? I say, if we work this out and close whenever you want, what's the least you'll take? So write that down if you don't have that in your scripts. If we work this out and close whenever you want, what's the least you'll take? And then you say, is that the best you can do? So that's my aggressive take on asking price. But a lot of times, you know, depending on what they owe, if they owe a certain thing, we can only buy it for what they owe, where they're going to sell it to us for less than what they owe on the mortgage. But if they do, we will say, do you have wiggle room? So wiggle room is my soft attempt at negotiating price. And then I told you the script I use if I'm coming at them a little harder. So purchase price, it's okay if you have kind of a meager apple there, because you're going to make it up on the other terms. If you have a really low monthly payment that leaves you a $500 a month spread, bam, that's a huge apple. If you've got a long length of term, the whole rest of the mortgage, or a 30-year term, bam, that's a huge apple. And then down payment, what if you get it for nothing down? Bam, another huge apple. So that's how come we can afford to pay full price on these deals, because you make up your apples to make your delicious apple pie. Your apple juice can come from anywhere, can come from all of those different ones. But again, remember this way to structure your deal structuring. It makes it easy to kind of evaluate a deal quickly and know what you've got, know if you've got a profitable cash flow deal. And so that's it, guys. So that's our session for today. I'm glad when I can use the smart board, makes you guys smarter. And so hopefully you can read it and everything good today. So thanks for all your comments. We already went through those. So our affirmation for today is, I love doing deals. I love doing deals. Okay, let's say that 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love doing deals. I love doing deals. I love doing deals. Yes. Okay, 3 deep breaths. Nice deep breath in. Good. Hold it a little bit and good job. Okay, another one. Deep, and then hold it a little bit, and then good. Hey, Lacey, you showed up. Another one. You'll have to go back and watch this because we did some good deal structuring today. And Tony, yes, Tony, remember Tony is our winner. He already has the 1-hour home selling machine. And guys, summer's the time to get properties and turn them over quickly. And so obviously that's a system that teaches you not just how to sell with the 1-hour open house, but also how to sell all your lease purchase properties, whether it's self-showing, private showing, or 1-hour open house, which we love. Happy Friday. And that's okay, you're late. You guys can always come back and watch it later. Okay, going to look at the apple pie in a whole new way. Yes, if you're having apple pie for Father's Day, you're going to say, I wonder how many apples this took. 4 juicy apples, okay, but one can be kind of small and the other 3 can make up for it. Sometimes you'll have two that are kind of small, but you've got they give you like 50,000 in free equity. How do you walk away from that? Even if, sometimes we've taken on negative monthly cash flows if we've had other really good, delicious apples in the mix. So yes, I love teaching you guys, and this is a good strategy. It's a good analogy for understanding. You always are so good, Jennifer, but writing out our affirmations for the day. Affirmations are so powerful, and we really demonstrate that at our events. So that's really exciting, guys. Don't forget how powerful your affirmations are. Definitely use them before you get on the phone, and always expect success. I expect success. I expect success. That's an awesome affirmation. And I take action. That's Lynette's saying. And what's the only step in the middle? Getting the best training from the Wolf Couple. So awesome. So keep expecting success, getting awesome training from us, and doing what? Yes, taking action. So great to see everybody here today. Have an awesome Father's Day weekend. All you fathers, enjoy time with your children, and have a wonderful time. And I will see you back here on Monday. So